Vinny, how are you? I see you. We have any questions?
Wait, we're gonna put some coffee.
Right here. She's bringing the corn. So we're gonna put it here. Vinny, thanks for the bagel.
I like that total.
I'm gonna put it here. There's still hot.
But I gotta talk to the radio. Yeah, wait. And Jeff, I'm doing a bid now for your phone books. It's huge. I'm still opening it from. We're supposed to be on Thursday. Close.
Tell me about it.
Treat like Saturday. Friday at 2 p.m. Yeah, I'm on it. He said, don't have any drops, like wire drops and stuff. Okay. He said, just check back in like 4 o'clock.
Maria.
So we do is,
Yeah.
we do a
No one will be using.
No, I'm not gonna have them use that.
price per drop, price per wire.
If you can use another one, that'd be fine.
Because
otherwise-
5, 6, 8.
You want the stand for that?
Stand technician,
No.
and price per drop. More per year, on-call services, when they do it.
Hello? Yo, can you hear me? But this. Hello? You can't hear it though. Phil, can you hear me? Vaguely? Hello? Can you hear it? But I got my hand. Can you hear it now?
I know, I gotta.
Is that all that matters? Okay, that's fine.
Test.
Hey, if that one sounds a little better. So Phil. Now you know what? Just use that hole right there.
It could be the microphone.
Can you hear me through the microphone? Cool. Hello? Can you hear it? Yeah, it's yeah, all right. Uptown. No. I would kill the game with that Billy Joel. I would kill it. 200.
Feels good to me.
Which screen is the concert chamber? 67.
Perfect.
waited, huh?
We're gonna eat good anyway.
Get all your carbs in today.
That's it. Carb loading.
I don't know, she's upstairs maybe? See, this is where it's happening.
Hi, morning, man.
Hey, what happened to, that thing from, Andy? Andy had an operation or something?
Yeah, Andy had a major operation in December.
I didn't know that.
Actually, I didn't know that either until at the last meeting when he told me.
Listen to this.
And, I didn't know he switched jobs either.
I didn't either.
I'm pressing the
When did he
button
have
and I'm
surgery on?
stopping Chuck.
He
Over
had,
here.
I think it was a
The door
gallbladder,
won't open.
but
The only
they
thing
had
that's
to open
working
him
is
up
the thing
because
in
it was
the-
attached to
the
something.
trunk.
So
And the
they had to go
lock
to
So they had to go
down.
down.
Yeah, it wasn't
And
like.
the battery's in there,
Yeah.
the battery.
Originally
But
they
these
My
two
brother
work,
just
and
had
this
his
two
out.
won't work. So there was a woman there, I flagged her
Last
over.
Thursday, I guess it was.
And so she goes, I can
Yeah.
bring you over to town
Yeah,
hall.
usually they
Then she
just
goes,
go with a
I go,
small
"Well,
Yeah.
incision
let's
and
bring
they
the stuff
kind of
over."
suck it out.
So she
Yeah.
brings it over.
But
I have
evidently
one
his
key
was
at home.
attached to
I
something.
might have to go
When they
home.
actually looked at it, he was in a
I'll
lot
go
of
give
pain.
it another try, but I mean, I was standing there for like 5 minutes, pressing. Well, I didn't.
No, I know, I didn't know either.
They didn't have.
Then he has to tell us ahead of time,
They
doesn't
didn't
read
have
it.
containers, so, yeah, I put the little things out. I have.
Oh, okay.
You gotta miss a month.
Oh, thank God for
Been
this
out a long
woman.
time.
All right, that was
Yeah.
good.
She's
Well,
very helpful.
Well, it turned out to be
I was like, I'm just
bigger
right
than
over
what they
there.
expected, that was the whole thing. Cause I didn't know that, when he came to the meeting, he said, he said, I'm just getting over the surgery.
Oh, my breakfast is in my car. This poor person. All right.
you don't think she's up there by any chance?
I don't think so.
No?
A long time ago, I had a
No, Maria, we have good.
Had elective surgery
I work
to
jeans
have
but I
section
think
my colon,
Oh, I forgot all about it.
diverticulitis. Surgery went great.
Okay, all right, I'll leave them all there.
My car.
Okay, go deal with your
Lots
car.
of these bad problems. But
I have another key, so hopefully that works.
I had an abscess afterwards, I was home and all that.
Yeah.
A week later, I'm back in the hospital, and
You
that
want
was
me to
worse
make a pot?
than
And
the
the
surgery.
surgery, yeah.
Infection, what's the abscess from infection?
Yeah.
From the hospital? That's a big problem in the hospital.
They had to,
Infections.
they had to put a drain through my lower back, into my abdomen. They did this thing, they put in this tube or thing that they put in the drain. They did it without no anesthesia, they did a little local around where they did the incision. I'll tell you,
Oh, man, I wouldn't want that.
and they're watching it, they had some kind of a scope, they're watching it like on a TV, and they're manipulating it around, and I'm wide awake. First, I just started that.
Can't they give you something to come?
Well, I would have thought so, yeah. They only did it around, where they did the incision.
That's
You know,
like-
they're reluctant to knock you out anymore. They'd rather give you locals and stuff, and it's just the way they just don't want you to get a lot of that in you. But I wouldn't wanna be away for anything, to be honest. Just wouldn't want to. But that's the problem. You can have a surgery today and it goes fine, but there's either an infection or a staph infection or some bullshit.
It's like when the dentist told me that it's only a small little cavity and you don't really need a Novocaine.
Yeah, right.
So I said, okay, but that's the last time I did that.
Yeah.
I don't care how small it is, I want a Novocaine.
They don't care.
See, I sent him down. Did he address?
He came, he said in 67, he says, what are you talking about? Quote, that's what he said.
We get people in the room, we'll warm it up.
I told him that, and I told him the gentlemen that are down there are already suffering.
well, it's only gonna get worse. We can open
There'll be
the
a lot of
windows.
hot air in here.
No, that's,
I did
I mean,
I
We
did
could
tell
go,
him
there's a lot of
that.
hot air
no,
too.
we'll take off our sweaters, so.
Then we take off our pants, oh, you still got
Yeah.
your jeans on, you're good. I'm checking to see who has jeans on.
I wouldn't have
Good morning, good morning.
Oh, look who's here. I know.
Whoa.
Morning, how are you?
Hey, Matt.
That's not Karen.
Yeah.
I have to just got you in.
I know you.
I know, I just didn't wanna, I haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, Don.
How are you, Kevin?
Hi, Laura.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Maria,
Where do we-
audience today.
We just sit in the back?
Yes,
Oh, sit behind these chairs.
Somebody gave this to me.
Just kidding you.
Nice color, I like your red.
Oh, thank you.
It's my favorite color.
I'm sorry, I didn't really set up for you guys because. You never know, right? Who's coming?
Stuart.
He's doing really well. The cover's really nicely from the back, so,
No, I'll set
you know, it's a good long year, but he's doing well with it. Have a lovely wife?
Doing very well.
Just
Yeah.
kidding. I'm just kidding you.
I just did
Where do you
weights.
exercise so early? There's a trainer I take a class. She has a class over her house. Doesn't have to be on Parkway Drive. No.
Good night.
We park in the driveway. You can't park in this one's driveway because of all the people that live in this.
Yeah, thank you just a little.
Just a little?
You don't get to know.
Butter knife.
No, but it is, parking is hard sometimes. Well, you know, I mean, I have it with the trail parking.
It's on Parkway Drive, it's really considered running out of, she's got some in-law setup, and she came with a significant cost.
I definitely.
We started putting classes that were coming out of that apartment, which is next to Trumbull Statutes, and all the cars, and we couldn't get up and down our street. You couldn't even back out of your driveway.
You know, I was going over near Sacred Heart, you know, they have all that new housing, and taking a right to get onto Park Ave, there's like this much room. Thank goodness nobody came in the other direction. And there's nothing you can do because it's all student parking, right? They park on both sides of the road. The residents must be crazy.
All my time is
One by one they sell, and then it's just another highway.
Yeah. The school buys them and it's more housing for the,
I'll rent them from the students.
they're renting those houses out now. So the owners don't have to put up with the parking. Yeah.
You couldn't handle a roommate. I said, I'll do what I have to do to stay in the house.
Right.
Otherwise, that would be a source of income. Like I said, once my dad goes.
Yeah. Always options, right?
I'll be calling my relatives for a spot in their garage. Here you go.
Yeah. Jeff Croft, he's on Board of Assessment and Appeals. He's our first person.
Oh, God, thank you for reminding me. Oh, that's Jeff.
Yeah.
Stuff in the middle of the road, doesn't it?
A small world. Yeah.
I put hide.
Jeff? Jeff?
everyone?
Okay, we gotta drop the heat a little.
Well, we told Adam.
He said it was 67. There's no 67.
Oh, not up here, oh my God. It's hard to control this. Well, Laura, yeah, we're blowing a lot ourselves. Oh my God. Is he trying to kill us? I think so. Yes.
Worth it.
Thank you. You say me a seat? She say me a seat over here. Yeah, there's a stack of papers there. No, Maria's gonna take them. Okay, okay.
Because I think it included the medical center.
Good morning, everyone. Ready in a second.
I made my notes.
Coffee?
I don't know if we'll use them all, but I made it.
Thank you, I was gonna do it, I'll wait a second. Yeah, exactly. You guys got? Okay. All right. I got extra. So it's been Friday night. Do you have them? Do they have them back there?
I don't know, I left them over there on your spot.
I know, me too, I was like, I don't know.
I'll wait till I get there. I just can't do it.
Maria, are there enough? Yeah, that should always be. We never make all their meetings anyway. That's fine, I think Elaine will read it anyway. Are we good? No, fine, but not better than it used to be. Do we need anything Here we go. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you'd all remain standing for a second, I would like a moment of silence. We don't normally do this, but I would like us all to remember Ralph, who was our wonderful videographer, who we will miss dearly, and his always sort of smile and laughing at us and kind of keeping us in line. Thank you. Okay, first item on our agenda is the Board of Assessment Appeals. And for reference, it's page 55. I need to spread out today. Good morning, gentlemen. Definitely need more room. I have this. Okay. Anything in particular you would like to tell us?
The Board of Assessment, it's a big budget. I mean, they might be a little busier.
Microphone, please, because he can't tape you.
They might be a little busier than last year, only because it's kind of residual from the revaluation. Some people seem to react more to their tax bills than to the initial notice that they get, so
Okay.
I think that's the only thing that
And where are we in the reval cycle?
it's over.
Right, but when's the next one? 5?
2020, October
2020.
for the grand list of 2020,
Okay.
and that would be tax bills in July of 2021.
Okay. All right. So then let's switch to the Assessor's Department. For some reason, it's back on page 49. They're not together. Okay, okay. So what is the status of digitizing the property records?
We've got most of it done. This is for like old assessment records that they're a permanent record that we're supposed to keep, which is the old field cards. But it's almost done at this point. They've been all copied and digitized, and we just have to get like one final file from them.
And so, since I've not had the opportunity or the need to use it, can I assume then that anyone will be able to go online and reach it, or do they have to still come into your office?
Well, they could call us or they could come in, but the old field records aren't online.
Okay.
They're attached in our vision system.
Okay.
It's just a matter of space too. And they come in handy to like a lot more departments than just us, building department, zoning, when they're going back and trying to look at properties and what the status was in some previous year. We've now got them, they're attached to the vision record but not online.
But the vision records are online where someone from anywhere could just go in and look at it?
Right. This is like
Okay.
an attached file. I don't know how to explain
So if I wanted some history, I might have to come in. But if I
Right.
were looking for current, all I would have to do is go online.
Yeah, they were available before, but the actual physical record was sitting in file cabinets all in kind of the front of our office. And now we've got, them copied and attached online, so we can now move those records out and create some room in the office
Okay.
for, files.
And can you tell us the grand list we're going to be working with, what sort of an increase we have in it?
Okay, it went up 1.3% overall. I don't have the exact dollar amount. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 million, close to that, up assessment-wise, up.
And are there any major pending appeals we need to be concerned about?
There were no residential appeals, formal appeals. There were close to 30 all commercial appeals, just about all but 4 or 5 have been settled. Some of them weren't even much of an appeal. I mean, you had one property owner who had, a few significant properties, and then maybe 6 or 7 insignificant properties, and just kind of threw them all in.
Together.
Yeah, but so, the only significant thing is there is still a pending appeal, and actually we do have a trial for one property that's from the 2011 revaluation that's scheduled in May.
Okay.
That's for Digital Realty. That is, it's a major property. I have no idea what.
That's the data center.
Right.
Okay.
Other than that, that would be the one, but we don't, there probably won't be a final determination on that until next year,
Okay.
from my understanding, so.
Okay. All right, questions? Vicki?
Good morning.
Morning.
Just if you could tell us, why is there an increase in the 522202 services and fees
that the
professional? From
audits?
5 to 10,000, so audits, personal property audits?
It was at that level previously, and we had decreased it, like during the reval, because they had the reval expense that year, plus we were gonna be busier with the reval, but that was a level that if you look back, we were at previously. And those are just, for business personal property. We have 1,600 accounts. Some of them are insignificant, a lot of them in the home business and things. But probably of those 1,600, you have close to 400 non-recorders, non-filers. But there's problems. I mean, we can just see them with various accounts, and it's the only check that you have really on those accounts.
Okay.
And we've done,
I saw that
we
it-
just lowered the number during the revaluation.
Right.
Yeah.
And is it possible for us to get a schedule of the grand list to show what you said the growth, it's up to, they grew 1.3, to see that, what that
What do you
breakdown
want?
is between the commercial, residential?
Sure. I could, but I need to just make some copies.
Thanks.
I could give it to Maria.
Great.
Yeah, she'll give them out to us. We've got a few weeks before we're finished.
All right.
Any other questions? I guess you're done, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, we're actually a little ahead of schedule, but I think I saw Nancy, so maybe we can look and see if she's out in the hall. Mark, will you just check and see if Nancy's out in the hall? Is there anyone out in the hall waiting for us? I saw her before, so I think she is here. And then maybe we can make a quick call to Bob so he can get up here. I think we're running a little early. I'd rather get ahead in the morning. Nancy, we're all ready for you. We're actually slightly ahead.
Kevin Long, who's director of the
Oh, okay.
patrons here. Can we give him a couple more minutes?
Yeah, sure. Sure. We'll just recess for a few minutes, see, and make some calls, tell everybody we're slightly ahead, which we won't be once we reach Park and Recs, but if they want to show up early. So if everybody wants to grab another cup of coffee or water, we'll take a few minutes. Regrettably, we won't stay ahead very long.
I'm always early. That's my MO.
And for us, it'll depend from department to department. Sometimes we end up ahead and then one will take a little longer and it's just a question. One of the reasons now this is better and we do it during the day is we're here so we can run off and grab departments. Sometimes even take them out of order or we just run through some of Maria's. I'm looking to see who else would be around this morning we might just grab. Some are coming from outside. Well, we have food as always, so if anybody wants a break for food, I will take a bite.
Very nice. I didn't just have breakfast, I did 10 to.
Keeping ourselves energized for the day. Of course, all these carbs are just going to put us to sleep. I know you do. If I drank as much coffee as you, I would never sleep.
Oh, I'm not gonna sleep anyways.
Well, that's true. You have 3 kids to keep you awake.
It'd be good at waking me up. Last night it was 3:30, my daughter needed her blanket on. Meanwhile, while she's yelling at me to help get her blanket on her, she rolled over and her blanket fell on top of her.
How old is she?
Three. All three of my kids, I have twin 3-year-olds,
Oh,
and a 5-year-old, so they split up when they yell to wake me up. So it's like every hour, just enough to get back into a good sleep for the other one to switch in.
Can I see your lucky night? I'm seeing Nana here, so
Yeah.
I know that's.
We were out of power in our street yesterday for about 12 hours.
Wow. Where do you live, Lloyd?
On Coventry, a tree limb came down. It looked like when I got home, the police had the street shut off. There were the sawhorses at a couple of ends. They had pushed them to the side. There was still a cone, and I got back about 5:30. I checked online. I guess we went out of power about 2:30 in the afternoon. They were saying we'd have it back about 3 in the morning. But my husband said he got up about 2 and the lights on the street were on. I personally don't care anymore. I have a generator. Because
Standby
I
or
am
plug-in?
standby.
Yeah.
Power goes out, generator goes on. I don't have to deal with it. Power comes back on, the generator goes off. All I need to do is call the service people today and tell them it was on for 12 hours.
Right, right.
I am way too old to be in the dark anymore.
I have one too.
I can't stand it. After a couple years ago when we had the 2, one in like September, one in October, I always said, what do we do if it's winter? And now you don't have a heating system. Now you can warm yourself up, but you got to start worrying in this weather. The pipes are freezing and all that other stuff. And I'm done with those repairs. It's just stuck a generator in.
I think she wants it. I know she wants a generator, because the last time when it went out, it was one time I went out, and we went to my father's house, and the next time he went out, and my sister-in-law came to my house. So luckily we had a place, but,
Yeah,
you know, he sold his house, so there goes.
there's that alternate
Rooms are no longer
available.
My
It's an
family gets
expensive
bigger.
proposition, because it has to be serviced every year, and,
Yeah, I just put a maintenance contract on it, so they service it every year.
what do you use, if I may ask? This is
I think he's not taping. All electric.
all electric.
Yeah, and they put it in, and I think it's a Briggs and Stratton. We talked about, you see a lot of advertising for Generac, and he was like, I said, which is in your house? He said, a Briggs and Stratton. He said, I service them less. I said, works for me, and you're going to have the service contract, so if it isn't a good one, you're the one that's going to be out here fixing it all the time.
I have a Generac that I put in at the same time, because I get tired of throwing stuff out of the refrigerator
Oh.
and the freezer.
Free and throwing everything away.
Oh, my God.
I've never understood. I worked at a grocery store for years, and people who shop because snow's coming have always made me laugh.
Yeah, because you're going to lose it all.
On Wednesday, you shop on Saturday every week. You're telling me you won't be cleared by,
Right.
but, and they're like, well, we need it in case we lose power, but you're buying these.
And you're going to lose them all. Yeah. Yeah.
I know you, because I've seen you here, you are putting your meat out in the snow. Like,
Yeah.
Who is this?
it's just, I don't know, I wanna put solar,
the
but
name?
not attached to the grid. Like, I wanna build, but I wanna build like a shed in my back and put it there, because if you attach it through the companies, it turns off when the power goes out.
Right. It has
I
to.
have a 14.
It has to.
I
I
don't,
have a small house and a 200 gallon.
You know what? They're making big advances in storage. I've been reading a little about it. Roy may have read some and understand it.
I have it completely separate, even if it goes out because of a tree limit, if I still have the sun up, I still have power.
Right. But if you don't have the sun up, or if it's snow, like my solar panels are covered right now. It's they'll come off. It'll come off in one giant sheet and come crashing down and scare the bejesus out of me. I've had that happen. But yeah, they have to shut off, which I understand. It seems counterintuitive. Power goes out, they shut down your solar powers. However, the guys working on those lines, yeah. See, I wonder. No, but the problem is it goes off if there's the power. Unless you do solar panels that don't connect back to the grid where you get a credit when you're using if you're willing to forego the credit, which is not a big credit anyway, then you may be able to keep them on.
Which I am, just subsidizes, so ours
So you'd have an outlet? Yeah, see, I didn't do that because we have the grid generator anyway.
I mean, there's alternatives, but I had to chop down 2 trees in my front yard, and
I did too.
based on the ice the other day, I may not have to do
Yeah,
much work. So,
it's a height, yeah.
I mean, they're big. The problem is,
Yeah.
when I put up solar, I have to put it in central gas, or I'm going to, because these trees give me so much shade in the summer.
Yeah.
That to take them down, I'm gonna have to.
Yes.
Which is what makes me
Good
drive my
morning,
feet.
we've been waiting. They were running ahead, and I said, could we wait a few minutes?
But again, my house is completely
Here's
facing
the
the right
budget.
direction. It's a ranch of 2,000 square feet, so everything's
Well, you know, I don't remember what happened. We only had one between us, so I must have grabbed it. And these are goals I came up with for this year. I had to do what I was supposed to do.
Not
at
hard
the
to
last
heat.
meeting.
Yeah.
I don't know where they ended up.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to take 2 down too in order to do that. We'll give Marie a minute.
after raking those acorns last year.
Ugh.
It's still a bed of acorns on my yard. I want to get rid of them, but they're
Yeah. Or what they pay you for them isn't worth it, but I haven't had that problem. I've yet to figure out why my house with 2 people has such an outrageous electric bill. The solar panels have made a huge difference, but my bills never ticked a credit. So I'm not worried about losing them. Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of lights, a lot of recessed lights, and they're all LEDs. I know part of it is we do keep the hot tub warm, so that's going to pull a lot. But, you know, I have a new heating system, which should be energy efficient, but there were months I'd look at the bill and go, this is insane. Everything's gas, except my dryer. And the next time I replace it, I will change that, but my heat, hot water, cooking is all gas. My ovens aren't. My wall ovens are electric. Part of it is the exposure. Yes, the front of the house faces south. The problem is the back of the house, where most of the living is in the north end, so it's dark, so you're always, on the sunniest day, you need lights in my kitchen to cook. Panels are on the front roof, first facing southeast, so the sun comes across it.
Oh, hi, Vicki. I didn't even see you sitting there. How could I not see her?
You'll see how much it changes also in the winter because of the sun. But mine, I don't have that many panels because there was only so much space on the front roof. So they covered what they could, probably no more than 24. Yeah, it's,
Good, I'm glad. Tell them I said hello.
yeah, no, I think there's only about 24 panels up there, and it's
Thanks, yeah.
everything you use.
Do you have grandchildren? Not yet.
Yeah, I don't have, the way my house is angled, there's not that much front roof, and then in the middle of it, there was a damn, skylight. So they had to work their way to each side of the skylight. That blocked off, right dead, dead center of the front roof. Oh, it was there. We bought the house, it was already built.
That's so true.
So, and if you took it out, then that, it's in the bathroom would be completely like in the dark. I guess we could have, but when we did the roof, we weren't planning on the solar panels, and then we did it later. Maria disappeared, but I don't know. Okay, so she doesn't, we don't need her. All right, so let's go back on the record. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you would please identify yourself for our clerk and spell your name.
Okay. Nancy Gottschalk. Want me to spell it? Gottschalk. Chair of the commission.
And Kevin Malone, president of the Patrons of the Trumbull Nature and Arts Center.
The what, patrons?
Patrons of the Trumbull Nature and Arts Center.
Okay, we are on page 7.
Nature Arts Center?
Page 7 of what?
Yes. Nature and Arts Center. Yes.
was private work that was done by a neighbor who adjoins the back of the property. He took a lot of trees down and the trucks came in. We didn't know anything about this and got a call that there was work being done. Originally, the lady thought on the TNAC property, but it was adjoining. But the trucks used the TNAC property to come in and go out and left it a mess. And it was in the fall, so the neighbor said that he will restore it, and I believe he will, but I mean, you can't do anything in the winter time.
I just wanted to make sure that they were the ones that were taking care of it.
They will be. Hopefully, got our fingers crossed.
Best that you can. I had a similar issue on my yard, and it still looks the same.
Well, I'm sure it won't, but do you want to add to that?
No.
Okay.
Okay, just making sure it wasn't us. It was.
No, it was not the town. It was private.
Thank you.
That would be why we have town attorneys. They shouldn't have crossed the property without permission in the first place.
Well, apparently the neighbor did contact people within town, but I don't know whether protocol wasn't followed or what. I don't know. All I know is that it was going on and we heard about it and it all broke loose, you know.
Okay.
The only thing I wanted to add to the goals and priorities that I did not add here, and I don't know whether it's anything that we could do today, is that they have been asking the people up there at TNAC for a programmable thermostat for the heat. And the reason for that is if they can program it, they will be able to conserve oil. When they're not there, they don't have to run the furnace as high as it is. And I did approach, I forgot who it was last year in town, whoever would do that. Maybe it was Alan White, I don't remember, but they would need funds for that, so, I don't know, if you have another $150 we could put towards something like that.
Well, we'll talk to him in his building maintenance account. I can't believe he can't find $150, but we'll have that conversation with him.
I'm not, do you know that schedule?
No, what we normally do is we keep the thermostat set like 50 degrees when there's nobody there, and then we'll get there early and turn it up. You know, sometimes if somebody's using the facility and doesn't remember to turn it down, it would be nice to be able to just have it automatically turned down so that we're not burning through as much. You know, that's the biggest budget item we have is $3,000 in oil, and I think we can probably save some money on that with a programmable thermostat. So we require the proper, you know, if we could. I don't know much about programmable thermostats other than you know some of them are remote, some of them are just.
Right, they cut it down.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
The oil this year is only like 1,500, not 3,000.
Right.
Not
But
saying
oil,
it doesn't matter. I'm just.
yeah, okay, oil is going up though. I
Let's
mean, I
fix
just
that.
looked into it myself, so I don't know.
Okay, so it's really just a matter of what you'd use it more for is at the end of the day, whatever day it is, that will automatically go back to the 50. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
in case somebody doesn't remember to do it.
Anything else? Did you have a question on?
Questions?
Anyone? Questions?
I have one question. I probably know the answer, but I wasn't here last year. It says under your accomplishments in 2016-17 that you hired a permanent staff position to handle varied TNAC communications. And there's no salary line in this budget, so was that done through the, right, okay.
It's actually a contract person. We didn't hire an employee. We have a contract with a person to do that.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
I just have, excuse me.
Yes.
Mr. Chair. I just have one general question. It doesn't have anything to do with you. And maybe Maria can answer it. It's about the adjustments that are being made to the heat and the electricity in the accounts. This one, you know, is like cut in half. And I can read the explanation, but some of the other accounts, it's not quite as aggressive as others. Is there some formula that was used?
Yeah, we monitor what the actual is going to be till the end of the month, year, and we project an increase. And I know we've been monitoring the heat very closely with the first year, so the oil cost has been lower, so we've been saving money on that. And if you look at page 10, there's the budget actual report.
Right. I did see that.
See,
So you based it on what the actuals were in each account, how you made your adjustments?
yeah, and project an increase for next year.
Okay.
A slight increase.
Excuse me, the papers we have here don't even have the monetary amount for this year that, for the oil.
Do you
What
have
is-
the next page? There's the budget, and then there's what we call year-to-date actuals.
Okay.
Do you have that? What you'll see is what's been used in the last prior
I
to
got it.
fiscal years,
Yeah, I
okay?
got it.
So we look at actuals, we look at current, projected to the year end. Excuse me.
That's a big cut.
Based on it
Well-
actually came down that much though, that's right?
Her bills are per location. Remember something, we don't pay what you pay for oil. We buy it by contract in bulk at the beginning of the year, and all the taxes you pay, we don't. So spot oil price for homes doesn't always yield a good comparison for the town. While it's a general trend, there's usually a big difference. It's actually one of the ugliest choices Maria has to make at some point in the year, whether to pull the trigger and sign the contract and commit to an oil price for the entire town and Board of Ed and gasoline for every vehicle, or ride the market. Yeah, it is an ugly choice. Do you wait, do you go? It's for those who don't know she has to make that decision, it is tough. You just, I'd rather go to Atlantic City, and I'm not a gambler, and I don't go there. That was my least favorite task as finance director. And you're making a decision for the town and the Board of Ed, so it is not small. So it doesn't necessarily correlate to what you see. It's uglier. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you both for joining us.
Just want to let you know, I brought a copy of our annual report for the previous
Oh,
year, so
that would be
I'll
fine.
leave that with you.
Yeah, do you have enough for all of us?
No.
Okay, if you give it to our clerk, she will get it to everybody before we're all done. And actually, if you just want to scan it and email it, or if you can't, I can.
I can scan it.
You can? Okay. We don't need more paper. Let's save a tree. And time. That's right, you scan from those copy machines, don't you? See,
Yeah.
I'm,
And I'm an electronic filer, so,
oh,
I don't like papers.
okay, good.
I'll scan it and tuck it right in the file and just.
All right, Maria, did you contact Bob? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we probably should try to get Stuart up soon, too. Okay, we're going to stop again for a couple of minutes. We're actually ahead of ourselves. Therese? Therese, don't leave, don't leave. We're actually running a little ahead of schedule, so. Good morning. I am well. How are you doing?
Great, thank you.
Good. Well, sit down and join us. We're actually slightly ahead, so we're going to keep on running that way.
Good thing I showed up then.
Yes. Yes. All right. We are back on the record. Okay, so is there anything you'd like to tell us about what's going on?
Building is picking up. We had a slow start to the fiscal year, but there's a couple things on the very short horizon which will get us on track for what we were projected this year. Graham retired last year, and I took over as the building official. And one of our cars it's a 2000 Jeep, and it's back in the shop today, and it's totally unreliable. So we added into the budget once the car that Graham was driving, the last payment is in June. So there was a slight increase to get a new car, which I managed to find funds cut out of our current budget, so there'll be no increase in the car payment. So basically we're not asking for a penny more other than contractual salary stuff than we did last year. It was a struggle to get it down there, but we did what we needed to do.
Okay. And your staff's pretty much the same?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Building projections, busy, income.
I think we were projected for 950, which was a little high. It's in for 750, and hopefully by the time July rolls along, we will have met our goal. There's a couple other projects on the horizon. There's a big apartment complex on the Oakview, which is going to bring substantial income to our department as far as permit fees.
And is that approved already?
No, but it's going to be fast-tracked. There's a lot of buzz about it, and I think when it hits, they're going to want to start that pretty soon. We'll at least get the foundation permits in place before July, and then the rest of it, we figured it's going to be pretty close to $500,000 in permit fees that we'll be bringing in.
Over what period of time?
Over the 2018-19 fiscal year. 17-18, sorry.
Okay. Stopping here to think a second. All right. Anything else you see that might increase numbers?
It's tough to tell. There's a lot of things that have been spoken about. There's a big expansion at the mall that I do believe is going to move forward at some point. They're in pre-planning right now, so when that hits, it's going to be, I believe it's going to be insane, the amount of work that we have coming in.
And what you know is coming, you have sufficient staff for that?
We do. It took quite a while to hire a replacement inspector when Graham retired, and we've got a gentleman, Shane White, that we've gotten from Waterbury, and he's just been exceptional in every way. He's got commercial experience, and he's working out very well for our department.
Okay. Okay, questions? Any board members?
How much money did you take in last year?
I believe we were pretty close, last year, we were pretty close to, $650,000.
And what does it look like for the year we're in right now?
The year right now, we put in for, $750, it got bumped up to $950. I project if all goes well, we'll be between the $750 and $950 range, someplace in there. You know, it's fickle, we can only anticipate what we think is gonna come in, and it just, one of the projects that's going on right now, 60 Corporate Drive, that building's been vacant for 10 years. And a tenant came in, Cone Elevator, and they took over the first floor and part of the third floor. So now I found out yesterday that because it seems like as soon as you bring a tenant into a building, somebody else becomes interested in the building. So somebody's already making a commitment to take over the second floor and then put an addition onto the back of the building. So that looks very promising too, but it's just really don't want to put that in a projection because I'm not sure how much of it all will happen. So you just try to find a common ground in there where, you know, you're pretty sure that this is going to happen. We had a couple really good years, and that the Cancer Center on Park Avenue, which was a multi-million-dollar job, along with some Unilever projects and Nutmeg Drive. Bob Cinto took over a building on Nutmeg Drive that was 10% occupied, and he's got 2 spaces left right now in the building that's completely occupied. So there's been some rumors about another building also that he's interested in taking. So, but, you know, just past history, something like that, I do believe it will, you know, move forward, but I just don't like putting those eggs in the basket quite yet.
Now, where do you think we are with the mall expansion? Like in the next year or two, or are we looking?
Within the next year or two. Originally, they were hoping the beginning of this year, but the planning and, you know, getting the stores to commit, and there's a lot of negotiating. You know, if you're going to put this store over here, because these are going to be separate buildings to the right side. They own all that property between the Parkway and the mall. You have to make sure with all the contracts that if you're going to put this business in here, it's going to get along with this business, and there's going to be no conflicts and stuff like that. So. But from what I'm told, from talking to the people at the mall, they're moving forward. They're definitely in the planning stage right now.
Vicky?
Thank you. Just going back to your revenue, actually in the revenue budget, you're only slated for $650, I believe. That's what's in here.
Okay.
If you want to just check that.
Revenues
If
are
you
in the
think it's
front.
$750, I think that what's in here is just...
For the current year?
For this coming year, yes. 2017-18. That's what your budgeted revenue line is.
I don't have it in here. I might have it.
Hang on. Oh. Yeah, right now it says 650.
Correct.
And then you estimate 650 for next year.
Right, so yeah, but it is that.
Well, that's the budget. We budgeted 950.
Right.
And you're saying you projected 650.
Correct.
In the year.
Right. Just because I thought 950 was high. Like I say, you'll have to read me because I took over from Graham, who handled all the budget stuff, so I've been cramming my brain with all of this, trying to be as accurate as possible.
Okay, but that's what's projected to the end of this fiscal year.
650, correct.
Yes, but the budget, the revenue line in here for 2017-18 is 650, not 750. I just want to clarify that.
Correct.
Right.
We kept trying to keep it
I'm
the same.
sorry, I'm not finding that line.
It's on
Page 506.
Page 506, it says projected to June 30th.
Which one are you looking at? There's another schedule, the next schedule.
Okay, behind the yellow, no, okay, but then that's different page 5. Got it. I was looking at the current year, because you were talking about the current year, okay. So the current year also predicts the 650.
Right.
Right.
I just wanted, you said 750, so I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yep.
I
Between
misspoke.
now and May
It may change.
24th, a lot of this is
Right.
going to change.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Okay, any other questions, Bob? I just one. The other project you were talking about on, would you say Oakview, the apartment?
Correct.
Those are not finished through P and Z yet, though, correct?
I believe they are not.
They are not. And that is not one of the 8-32G ones, is it?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
You have a good day.
You too.
All right. Next on our agenda is rec. I see Stuart's here. So we can start ahead on that section, which is, excuse me? Oh. Page 349. Okay. So I guess we'll start with recreation. We'll do parks. Is Dimitri coming?
No.
Okay, then we don't have to wait for anybody. Okay. There anything you want to start off telling us?
I think the budget from a budgetary standpoint, the budget's relatively flat. It's actually a small reduction. The change in the budget, there's a change we have currently between arts and the TYA program. We have 3 part-time staff members, and this budget contemplates reducing that to 2 during the middle of the year. So one of the positions is funded through October, and then we'll reduce that, do some reorganization with those positions, and look to reduce that from 3 to 2 part-time staff. Some of that responsibility will be absorbed by the other arts folks, and and some of it by our recreation program staff.
Okay.
Do you have this supplement in your budget? Know exactly what's in your budget. It was a handout that we used at the. You know if that was included, Maria? Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay, I will hand these out. This is the recreation programs summary.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is the summary of recreation programs. So if you look at the recreation budget, there's a $50,000 line item for program expenses, and that $50,000 essentially represents the town's contribution into the recreation activities, what we call recreation programs, recreation activities, which represents planned subsidies, discounts, and scholarships. So that beyond those items, the programs are self-funding, and that is a breakdown of all of the programs that are run, expenses and revenues that are run through the special agency account, the recreation fees account. As you get all the way down to the bottom, it shows a subsidy of $50,843, again, which corresponds to the $50,000 item in the budget. We have been, we brought on a new recreation program manager at the end of the summer, so we're in the process of reviewing all of our programs. We've got some, what I think are some exciting program changes coming up for the summer, some restructuring of some of the camp and playground programs, that we think will be well received, and all within this budget.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead. Matt, sorry.
Thank you, Chairman. Stuart, are these are the current fees?
Those are current fees, yes.
And the commission's working on updating these fees?
They did a full fee review last year. They did sort of across the board fees. So right now we're just looking at, there's a few specific fees that we're looking at in addressing certain programs.
So this could change then, a little bit?
It could change, yes. I think there are potentially one or two that we may be looking at for this summer that we'll be going back to the commission for, but not substantially.
Okay, thank you.
Well, again, right now we're not even certain that we're gonna have any fee increases. If we have one, it'll go to the Parks Commission probably next month. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I don't. To be clear, relative to this budget, it's not going to have any it'll have no substantial impact. We're talking about a couple of dollars probably in a particular program. It will not have a substantial impact. And again, this is the portion of the budget that's run through the special agency account, so it won't impact the budget at all from that standpoint.
Maybe not true. We're a little, let me find the right word. Not happy with special agency accounts. Okay. No matter what we call the fees or money that's spent, it should fall through the budget. There is too much offline expenditures. The last time I read the charter, this was the board charged with directing funds. And as we look at them, what was once set up, and we had one fund, two funds, maybe three funds. When I was finance director, there's probably 20-something funds now. So every time a department thinks they want to do something and they're going to take in a fee, they create a special agency account. There is a strong possibility we will look to a way to zero out every special agency account, except 2 or 3 that are required for the police department because they receive federal funds and we are not allowed to mix those funds with ours. Some of our feeling is that you're looking at a number in a rec department of roughly $300,000 in programming expenses on a $500,000 budget. So it's more than half that isn't flowing through here. And so there is a high level of discomfort. And while we understand that you can't predict how many people are going to sign up for a certain program, so we would never want to budget them program by program. There was a time when it was just all under programming expense, and whether you hired a lifeguard instructor for a class or a basketball clinic, you moved that around, but the bulk of it was still sitting within the budget. And you'd still be able to do all the programs you do, and you'd still be charging the fees, but the fees would look more like a revenue, and would be a revenue, and the expense would be in there. So
yeah, I don't have any objection to that. I've spent 30 years running a recreation department through a general fund budget.
Yeah, and that's...
we can certainly do that. I would, some discussion on the invitation. That the only, I would urge that the only thing I think should be done offline is the adult recreation. So 100% pays for itself. Is not confused with anything else. Again, no subsidies, etc.
Why do you see them different from the other activities?
Well, the way those leagues are set up is that the teams pay. You take the expenses for the league at the beginning of the season, divide it by the number of teams that are in the league, and that's how much they pay. And it should come out to plus or minus. It should come out even, less a couple of rainouts during the season or something. And but that way you don't end up with this argument that you always have, which is, oh, why are we doing adult recreation and why are we funding this, et cetera, et cetera. The fact is it's not funded. It's completely 100% user subsidized, and
they're not.
You can do it either way, but I just
Okay.
that is pretty standard. Is to keep your recreation leagues. I'm not talking about open recreation and stuff like that, but recreation athletic leagues, keep them separate, is pretty standard.
And right now, all those expenses are bundled in one special agency account?
There's two. There's one for some reason the co-ed isn't so there's men's softball and then co-ed athletics.
Okay.
So there are two special agency accounts right now that cover those. Those certainly can be combined.
Okay. All right. It's just the more we looked at the special agency accounts and we've been evaluating them, it's hard to get a handle on them. And I think it was 2 years ago, Parks and Rec decided to have a $5 fee for stickers, and the stickers went into a special agency account, which kind of defeats the purpose. There may be an expense to the program, to doing the stickers.
Yeah.
But going into a special agency account didn't necessarily cover the expenses, because the expenses were in the salary account, which were sitting in the main budget. So,
as I said, I have no problem. It's a structural change. I'd be happy to work through it.
And we certainly want input to understand if there's a type of thing being done that really should be set off by itself. But at least we get a better handle on this long list of special agencies. As I said, there are two police ones that cannot be put in the budget.
We have.
But we went from 2 to 20.
Recreation Department Parks and Recreation Department. We have probably about I think 7 or 8 accounts. And well, again, we've put a great deal of definition to this particular. This is the largest, obviously, and we put, as requested, put some definition to that. And this is a report that goes to the Board of Finance. It can go to it goes a couple times a year to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Mm-hmm.
But there are, I mentioned the athletic accounts. There is a lighting account, an athletic field account. There is a park permit account. Which again is I don't disagree. That's town revenue and ought to be certainly can make an argument that it ought to be accounted in that fashion. So that's fine. Whatever works.
Yeah, we're gonna be. That's one of the things we're gonna be taking a good long look at. And
within the recreation programs, where the recreation programs account to be incorporated into the budget in that fashion, I think making sure that there's a flexibility, as you said, to move stuff between between programs.
Right, it would be a general program account. So what program went in there wouldn't matter. If you were to decide in the middle of the year that I don't know that nobody went to the tennis clinic children, and you didn't want to do that anymore, but you found out there was something you did want to do. We're not trying to micromanage what they're doing. We're just trying to kind of corral the flow of money. So yeah, that would be why it would be, and I think you do have a program expenses right now. You do. So
yes,
it would just be, this number would increase
by $250,000,
and then the revenues would increase by an offsetting amount. It'd be a pass-through, but it would at least be accountable to the board. But we don't want to interfere with your ability to be flexible and change programs, or 20 more people sign up for this and 10 less that. We do not want a listing of programs, budget item by budget item in this book.
Well,
believe me.
Interestingly, as I mentioned, in my career in Westport, we did run the programs. We had a single account that we ran the adult programs out of, and we ran all the rest of the programs through the budget. Each program had line items.
Oh, no.
But in that case, we had the ability to administratively move money between line items. So there were literally an extra help, materials, and a fees and services line item for each program that we.
Yeah, no.
So I don't think.
Yeah, well.
I don't think you need to do that, but again,
you would lose the ability to move it between programs if we did that, because under our charter, you can transfer from one to another, but you still have to come back to us for that. If it's all in one program, you don't have to come back to us to say this program suddenly had 100 instead of 75.
We used to have sub-account transfer
Yeah.
ability, so.
Yeah, so we want to at least fit our rules, but not tie your hands. Is really what we're trying to do. We don't have any problem with any of the programs. You guys figure out which programs you want to have, how many people come to them. We're just controlling the money.
Happy to work with Maria, and we can.
So we have to look at that. And figure out, you do have a couple of program accounts in here, so.
The other one is
the aquatic.
The aquatics, so you keep the aquatics separate. That's largely the cost of lifeguard, both the staff and the program supplies account.
But it's interesting, under our numbering system, they're all the same number. How do we manage that?
Yeah, there's an actual,
AQUAT, there's a subcode project number.
Okay, because I'm just looking at the number and I've got the same number.
we wanted to segregate it.
Okay. All right. Well, we need to take a look at that and how we would start moving some things around and look at each of the individual special agency accounts that are connected to rec, and then we'll take a separate look at the ones connected to park and see how we can move those around. I'd just be a lot more comfortable if by the time we're done, there aren't any more than 5 special agency accounts. And that might be too big a number. You're shaking your head at me, Maria. Okay.
Nice job of putting this together.
Yes.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll add this in to our budget because this is very helpful.
Just before we leave and it relates to the parks, but you talk about the value of the special agency accounts, and we have a very small one in parks, but it does allow us to take when people want to, for instance, donate a bench, a commemorative bench or something, it allows us to take that money in and buy the bench out of the account and without having that as a budgeted expense, to take donations and
Right.
things like that.
And I wouldn't put that into the budget because again, you don't know when someone's going to do it, but that's a specific use. Someone comes to you and says, I want to donate a bench in memory of someone. That's not a budget. That's a gift that has a specified use. So I'm not saying we'd wipe out that kind of an account.
Right.
It's just if we have an account that we're using ongoing and it's a budgetary thing year after year, I don't see how we make it fit in a special agency account. But more of that I think is in parks than here. Does anybody have any questions about specific items within the rec department? Yes.
Would it also be possible, Stuart, to get a copy of, or a schedule of the breakout of the park's field usage fees as well? We have a number of outside organizations that use our fields and I believe pay a fee.
Yep.
So I'd be interested in seeing what.
We're going to have a long conversation about a park. Rec was the short one.
It's contained in the policy. Yeah, I'm happy to
Well.
Yeah, thank you. I'd be very interested in.
And it's all currently under review, so.
Okay, thank you.
Just one other question on this list you gave us. I know we have the subsidy coming from the town of roughly $50,000 towards park, but you're still a negative 20,000, or is that allowing? That's the.
No, we do two different calculations. We do a program by program evaluation that shows as we try and hit break even, and if we but we, let me explain this.
Okay.
We assume under revenue, if you see the program revenue and the net revenue,
Yep.
the program revenue would be if every participant was paying the full amount of the program. So we use that as the calculation to figure out where our fee should be, whereas you're trying to get to either a break even or a slight subsidy or a slight excess. So if everyone was paying full boat, we'd have a $20,000 subsidy. The additional $30,000 is in the actual scholarships and discounts that we offer.
Okay, so the actual subsidy ends up being 50,000.
The total is 50,000 of that. 20,000 is not getting to zero, and 30,000 is actually giving scholarships and discounts.
Okay.
And the 20,000 is, again, there are some programs that are planned to be subsidized. The camp programs, the general camp programs, etc. We intentionally subsidize those programs. We want everyone in the community to have access to those programs, so we keep those fees as low as possible, and that is a planned subsidy.
And you have a policy as to what it takes to qualify for that subsidy?
The discounts, the discounts and scholarships, yes.
Yes.
There's a written policy we established last year, approved by the Parks Commission, and it's administered. Some are standing discounts, a senior citizen discount, multiple children in a family. Those are in the policy, and relative to a waiver of fees, we work with the Social Services Department.
Perfect.
They do the screening for us so that our staff doesn't have to deal with people's finances. They've been great to work with, and one of the additional benefits to that is they get exposed to these clients. So sometimes there's somebody in town who may have a temporary financial setback, etc. Because of their exposure with us, we send them over to social services, and they get on their radar, and they can
perfect.
Identify other programs that might be of value to them.
Good. Any other questions? Yes, Vicki.
Thank you. Just a couple questions. Last year, under your successes and accomplishments was implemented the customer service software for program registration.
Yes.
And this year, your goal is to implement the online program so where are we with that?
The online portion
registration.
Of it. We are, well, that's a good question. We are cautiously optimistic that we will have the online program. We've got training set up for March, and our if that goes well, we will kick off our online registration.
I know I had a conversation with somebody in your office last fall, and they told me at that point they thought you were going to get the online registration up for the fall, last fall. So now I see you're reducing your staff by a part-time person here. What is stopping us from getting this going? Because the software has been, was put in last year, and we still are not having that online registration.
Well, right. So there's two issues. The software was put in, and we are utilizing that software. We now have full accountability. The cash handling, all of the reporting is being done with the automated system. So that system is up and running. The next component is to allow and we're using that for our program registration. The next component is to allow the customers to do that online. We had in the budget last year, in the current year's budget, a position for a business manager. That person, it was in the budget for the 1st of July, but we didn't actually hire by the time that we were able to complete the hiring.